hell is empty, and all the devils are here.
Hello everybody, this is Ligeia. Hail Satan. Welcome to the Devil's Library again, or if you are new, just welcome. Hopefully you will stay with us. Tonight I am here with three of my great friends. Welcome Pike.
Hail Satan.
Welcome Lithos.
Hail Satan.
And welcome Leraje.
Hail Satan.
Are you guys up for a challenge?
Yeah, got my sick bags ready to go.
Okay. And you listeners, are you up for a challenge? Because this is a big one, I think. It was my choice. So tonight we will be peeking into an attic space. This space is thick with dust and rotten stuff and shattered hopes and decay. We are going to be talking about a book that's called Carrion Crow and was written by Heather Parry. This was a first read for all of us, so we will be talking about really fresh opinions that we have after the first read. Just to set the mood a little bit, so I mentioned the attic and the dust and, you know, the rotten, decaying space we will be in. This book is deeply triggering in many fields, so please be warned. But I'm hoping, because you are here with us, you are a brave listener, reader, brave person. So please don't put this book away just because we will mention a few things. It's a great book. It's claustrophobic. It's deeply gothic fever dream of confinement and metamorphosis, where a female body is discussed in a detail in a way that you might not be expecting. So please be warned, but also we invite you to join us and actually read this book, because whatever we will say, there will be spoilers. But whatever we say, you know, it's not the same as reading it. So please read it. It's morbidly beautiful. Okay, are we ready?
Absolutely. And if you haven't read it, by the way, just click stop on the podcast, go read it, come back to the podcast.
Yeah, maybe do that.
Because there will be spoilers.
Yeah, it's impossible, again. Maybe for some people it's possible to do that, not for us. We even if we wanted to, it's not possible.
So do we go straight into phlegm discs?
Chewy phlegm discs. Oh dear. Oh. Shitting needles.
Oh.
Yes, yes, people, that happens.
No, that's just Lithos talking about his hobbies.
Yeah. Pastime activities. It's actually a simple plot. It opens in late Victorian London, Chelsea. There is a beautiful big house where a family lives, right? Do you remember the name?
Chain Row.
No, the family.
Perigord.
Perigord.
Yes. So it's a very noble name, right? The family, they have noble ancestors, right? This is this like old class.
Well, shit, the mum character marries into the Perigord
Yes.
family, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got the Perigord family, who are old French aristocracy who fled France with their money for obvious reasons. I don't know which particular of the many revolutions in France they were on at that point. And then she is from a family of nouveau riche. So a family where the father has made a lot of money from the new industrial revolution by selling soap. So they are regarded, even though they are incredibly rich from this industry, they are looked down upon by the French nobility because, you know, they've earned their money, and that's really fucking bad. You know, it's much better to actually be born with money. That's what really quality people do.
Yeah, it's the old money versus new money.
It's a very classist book
Yeah.
in that continual emphasis between old money and the new money, and the idea that even if you've got lots and lots of money, if it's new money, you can't buy your way into another class.
Yeah, you are constantly...
I'd say class-conscious book, maybe. I don't know if it's
What did I say?
classist.
Yeah, it represents.
Yeah,
Yeah,
class
you're right.
conscious.
It's class conscious. It represents very well the classism of the era.
What time do we think this is? I don't think it's explicitly mentioned.
Yes, there was a mention of something. I remember looking it up, and I think it must have been around the mid 1850, 1860, around that time. I can't remember what it was. There was a mention of something, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but they kind of placed it around that time.
Oh, is it the pictures of Queen Victoria?
Cannot remember.
No, Lithos is right. There was something. Yeah.
I should have actually made a note of it. I don't think I did.
Did they mention a war or a conflict or something?
There was colonial expansion into the Congo that could potentially date it.
Oh, I think it was actually looking up when Mrs. Beaton's book came out. Might have been.
Oh,
Oh, I was checking that book. It's gigantic.
yeah, it's huge.
I don't think it was newly published, though, at the time of the book, because it was handed
No.
down
It was handed,
from one person
right.
to the next.
Yeah, it was like generational.
Yeah, so it might have been late 18th, late 19th century, late 1800s.
It's definitely the second half of the 19th
Yeah.
century, I would say.
Yeah.
I have not noticed like a specific year mentioned, but maybe...
She very carefully doesn't mention a specific year or even decade.
She very interestingly doesn't mention several things, like one of the main characters in the book is never named. And I'm talking about the pre-epic rich, degenerate, prodigal son who the main character's mother marries. He is referred to only as the husband, which is probably just as well because he's a horrendous piece of shit. That house must have been covered in his jizz. Absolute. You know, mentions of him walking down to breakfast in front of the staff, you know, wearing only his shirt and fully erect and having his breakfast. And then I think at one point there's mention of him digging into a meal while he's wanking.
Yeah.
He's absolutely...
She refers to it as interfering with himself. I haven't heard that expression before.
It is very good. Actually, that's a good point. The use of language is very, very, very clever as well.
Yes.
And it is kind of like language of the time. And there are deliberate words thrown in just for emphasis so that when fuck appears, or at one point even cunt appears, then it kind of like punches you because the rest is kind of language of that time.
Right, so maybe we should start somewhere. Because, okay, we are now wanking and there is an attic, but I don't know if people will understand what this book is
For the
about.
benefit of the listener, we are not wanking during this recording.
No, we are definitely not. We are definitely not.
Okay,
No, we save that for breakfast time.
So there's
I'm showing my hands, okay?
kind of 3 generations mentioned here, which is the main protagonist, who is locked up in the attic by her mother to prepare her for marriage. Ostensibly, that's what the mom says. I think it's just because mom has gone a bit insane, and also, yes, we might get onto that later. But basically, the story is her grandparents, basically this industrialist who's made a mint out of making soap. And then there's his mother, who he marries off to this French nobility, basically to get himself more status in society. He ends up selling soap to Queen Victoria, in fact. And so she is then thrust from growing up in fairly humble circumstances to making a lot of money via her father's soap business to having to adjust to this French nobility who look down on her with absolute disdain. And then the main character who's in the attic is her daughter, who has 2 siblings.
There was an interesting parallel that occurred to me. The industrialist father of Celeste's father, Cecile? I can't remember. Cecile. He was described repeatedly as kind of like not one. He always wanted something open. He wanted a window open or the roof open or something. And there's Marguerite completely enclosed and locked in. Mm-hmm. And I just thought that was a very interesting comparison between the 2 characters.
He was one of those at the time, I think it was a thing, clean air fanatics who believed that fresh air would cure everything. So he actually has part of the roof and the entire wall on one side of his bedroom removed. Right. So he permanently is, in fact, the room is permanently damp, cold, and he thinks that's healthy.
I thought it was going to be mentioned again towards the end as Marguerite's attic sort of falls apart. I think the whole of the roof is coming off. Mm-hmm. But it's never mentioned again. And I thought that was quite good. It's left there for you to make that connection.
Yeah.
Yes, we should say they're 2 different houses. The one with the the room where the wall was removed. That's the main character's childhood home. Mm-hmm. No, hang on, I'm getting confused here.
It's Cecile,
the mum.
Cecile's, her mother's childhood home. That's right.
Let's do a quick rundown of characters. So we've got the industrialist father and mother. We've got Cecile, who is the mother of the main character.
Yes.
There is a brother and a sister of the main character whose names I can't recall. And there is the main character, Marguerite.
So
yes, that's right.
Their names are Louis and Thérèse.
That's right.
So Marguerite is the main character. She is the one that ends up in the attic because we don't know her age when this happens, but she's of age where she is deciding to marry. Her husband-to-be is not somebody that the family actually really wants because he's just this nobody. He's not actually wealthy or rich or anything. He has to work to pay for his living.
Yes, he's an accountant or something like that.
Yeah, I am not really. Yeah, I can't remember. Basically, we are told that this is probably the offense why she ends up in the attic. Her mom puts her there and she tells her, okay, you will be kept here because you need to get ready for the status of being a married woman, a wife, a person who is going to keep the home nice and tidy and, all these roles.
And to that end, she is given a copy of Mrs. Beaton's book on household management.
Right, so...
Which was basically a Victorian kind of middle class and upper class family Bible. It literally tells you everything, cooking, looking after kids, how to deal with your staff, because it is expected that you have staff if you've got that book.
That book really exists. It's a real book. You can find it. You can actually get it. You can buy it.
I had it for a while.
Yeah. So it's not based on this book, but it's a big part of the book, because even the chapters are like lines from the book. I loved that. Yeah. I really loved that detail. It doesn't really make sense until you realize, okay, these are actually quotes from the book. It is so surreal. I absolutely loved what she did.
I realised that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But my immediate thought was, oh God, someone's going to get plucked and stuffed and eaten here at some point, especially as the novel went on.
Yeah. like the descriptions from the actual words from the book are a little bit, it's dated. It's not how people talk anymore. And also the author, Mrs. Beaton, was so young. I don't think she was married when she wrote this book, or she didn't have kids or anything, but like she was able to put all this advice into this huge book, and women were made to follow it. Just like everybody had to follow this, and it was like a big advantage to have it and have the knowledge. So Marguerite was put there to learn everything from this book. She had very limited space. I think there was just one space where she could actually stand up, and there was the I almost said washing machine. Not washing machine, okay? Sewing machine.
Singer, yeah, the singer.
Yes.
Singer.
What she was supposed to like learn by herself how to use it to make use of everything she can do once she's married. And her mother was bringing her food, and she was also bringing letters from this guy she was supposed to marry.
So you said earlier, Ligeia, that you thought maybe that Marguerite's crime was this impending or her decision to marry this guy.
Because there's one character here we haven't mentioned.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that is the reason.
I wanted to get there because the other thing is not very clear at the beginning when she's already in the attic and we know about her marriage being in her plans and her hopes. She really wants to get married and be a normal, a wife and take care of this guy and learn everything she can. She's like really, really trying. And later we learn that the reason might be also, we learn the name Alouette. I hope I'm saying it right.
Alouette, gentille Alouette.
Right, I love that. So, and this is, I love this part of the book because this is actually Marguerite's lover. Alouette is a feminine name. So what do we see here is like maybe she was hidden in the attic because she was a little bit gay or bisexual or whatnot. And her dream was to be married, to keep that status and just like have this, formally stable home and normal marriage, and then have her real love life with her love, Alouette.
She wanted this kind of like shield of normality, in air quotes, so that she could have her, like you say, her real life with Alouette.
Because they were hiding. They were absolutely hiding. They were meeting and hiding in that room, and those were those moments of happiness. It's so lovely written. That relationship was really making me like happy for them. Also sad because they had to just hide.
It did up to a point, but I was kind of like on Alouette's side, to be honest. Just go.
Yeah.
Who cares? It doesn't really matter how much money you've got. Just go.
Yeah.
And I think her mom, Cecile, Marguerite's mom, who knew something was up, and I think this is part of the reason, because she could sort of tell that her daughter was coming in late and smelt of tobacco and, had obviously been out. And that might have rung some alarm bells considering who her dad was, who in the end was disinherited by the Périgord family because he just spent all his time drinking and going to brothels and gambling, and had fathered innumerable illegitimate children. And that a daughter was starting to do that, or that's what she thought, but that possibly she didn't know. And in right at the end of the penultimate chapter, I think there's the giveaway line, which is that Marguerite takes out Mrs. Beaton's book and it falls open at a page, and she reads a sentence: "Let her prove herself then the happy companion of a man." And this is after she'd been with Alouette, and Alouette had said to her, "You should just leave home, move in with me." well, I can make enough money for the both of us,
Yeah.
you know, and she doesn't know what to do. She goes home, she sees this, and that's when she decides to look for a man to marry.
A big theme in the book is intergenerational trauma and the kind of curse that carries, how you can't quite escape the life of your parents. And I think that's what in the end damns her, because if she at that point she can just walk out, but her mother has instilled this fear of being poor into her, so she thinks she absolutely has to maintain enough wealth to be happy.
Yeah, she never really questions her own decision not to just leave with Alouette, does she, Marguerite? Mm-hmm. There's always this kind of like, or it seemed to me there was always this kind of like belief on her part that it was the right thing to do, to stick around, get married, and then have a secret life.
Yeah.
She in Marguerite's eyes, that required no explanation. That was just the way it should be.
Yeah, she was not questioning it. This is how it was in all the families she knew, you know, like her mom got married. Everybody was just marrying and being a housewife.
Yes, to the very end, she tries to fix the situation the exact same way her mother tried to fix her situation, by just being this ideal woman, learning all the tips, and then somehow her life would just fall into place and everything would work out.
Yeah.
So
She could have it all. She
Yeah.
could be rich and live with Alouette. And no, what's the guy's name she was
Mr.
going to marry?
Lewis.
Louis, yeah.
He seemed like a fairly decent guy.
Yeah.
He was a
yeah.
Based on
solicitor.
what we heard about him.
Yeah.
She just, I think, I mean, it's someone she met at the zoo because she
Yeah.
liked going to the zoo. And I think, and that's where she first met Alouette as well.
Yeah.
And she was looking for someone specifically older who wasn't going to be as forward as sort of sexually aggressive as younger men, and who was fairly stable. And the idea was, he'd be out at work and then she could go and have fun with Alouette, and then she'd come home and be the dutiful wife.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot in her of trying to live up to her mum, Cecile's expectation, because I got the feeling that Cecile resented Marguerite because she was the firstborn, and once Marguerite was born, that is when Cecile's husband, the degenerate rich boy, lost interest and started going out drinking. Because there's kids. He can't just sort of like have fun, sexy time all the time whenever he wants. He's now got kids, and that's when he started kind of going back to his heavy drinking. That potentially she had some resentment towards Marguerite, and there's the scene where they're at the zoo, and Marguerite's brother is leaning over by the a frog pond or something and falls in and has to be rescued. And he falls in because no one was paying attention. But afterwards, her mother goes back and says to her husband that Marguerite pushed him in, even though that's a blatant lie. So there is at that point already starting to be, her mother has, for some reason, got it in for Marguerite.
Absolutely, because the other two kids were allowed to live normal lives. I didn't understand the hate towards Marguerite. Maybe it's what you were saying. I don't really know.
I think she was projecting herself onto Marguerite. Where she, at some point, she calls herself a natural, and then she starts calling, later in the book, she starts calling Marguerite a natural.
Yeah.
And she tries to make, I guess she wants Marguerite to succeed where she failed, because she feels she's a failed woman because, well, her husband walked out and now the money's gone, and, her parents abandoned her. So she tried to achieve all these things, and all these people told her she was a failure. So when Marguerite cannot achieve these things, her mother becomes very, very upset.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, she is. You're right. I think she's projecting.
Yeah, I mean, there's from the mum's point of view, she got married for somebody else, for her dad, and she couldn't make it work. And maybe in her fucked up view, what she's done to Marguerite by locking her in the attic has saved her from a similar fate.
Because her bubble was slowly not when she had Marguerite. Obviously, she knew her marriage was fucked. But remember when Cecile was planning, or the wedding happened, and she thought, oh, this is so gorgeous what we have done, like people will remember this wedding forever, it's so beautiful and so much food and the feast.
Green turtle soup.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And
God.
then when she went to that party later,
Yeah.
she was so unhappy, like, oh my god, these people live like this all the time, nobody's gonna remember my wedding because they have these parties all the time, it's nothing special. And her husband was already fucking 5 other people in the next room, everybody saw him, and she puked all over the freaking feast, and everybody was like, yeah, you're pregnant. And like, she was so confused. I was so sorry at that moment for her. Like, oh girl.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's a strange thing about Cecile. She's not completely hateable because of her own
I wanted to ask you guys,
experiences.
what did you feel? Did you feel like she was a complete villain, or did you have a little bit of sympathy at points?
I had sympathy for
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, because at the end, yes, she was. There's a German word for this. It's called Rabenmutter, which means raven mother, which is a bad mother,
Yeah.
which kind of like fits with the whole crow theme. So she ends up being that. She ends up being an absolutely horrendous person to her daughter, inexcusably bad. However, she has been mistreated throughout her life by men, essentially. You know, she had to do exactly what her daddy said. She had to work in his factory.
yeah.
She had to marry who her daddy said. Then she had to do exactly as what this rich boy and his family told her to do. And then she was left alone to look after the kids. And when the rich family decided to disinherit the prodigal son, her own father decided to also not give her any of his riches because he did not want to be embarrassed by having a failed marriage or a son-in-law who was a degenerate. So he cut her off. So she was left alone to look after her kids after all that. And she was 19 when she first married. I think that's actually mentioned.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's around the same age that Marguerite was when she got shipped off to the attic. So there are parallels there. And yes, in the end, I can see the reason why she ended up the way she did. And arguably, you know, had all kinds of issues with her state of mind. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nothing that happened to her excuses what she did to her daughter. But yeah, I mean, I remember the descriptions, because the book goes into Celeste's life
Cecile.
quite a lot, Cecile's life quite a lot as well. I can't get that in my head properly. And she seemed, I mean, there were times when she was like working in her dad's factory that she seemed quite happy. She seemed quite satisfied. She seemed to enjoy what she was doing. And then she had to get married. So all these choices that were taken from her made her what she was. And that's not an excuse for what she did to Marguerite.
No. But it was interesting because there were memories of a happy life where, you know, the memories of the bath with the soap, you know, the soap was so luxurious because they were the only family except the royal family that was getting this soap with the little flowers in it because Cecile's father was making it, so they had this. And those memories, how those kids were bathing and she was there and she was really trying to teach them they need to be clean, and Marguerite's memories of her mother always smelling like flowers, right? Like she was like, how did she do it? Like even when she was really, really tired or cried a lot because of her husband being an asshole, she always looked after herself. She was like carrying herself, and she was a proud woman. She wanted to look like a strong lady that takes care of herself.
Yeah.
Smelled nice, and she was teaching these kids. And then something had to happen to her when she did this to Marguerite. First of all, where this idea, like maybe this was not so uncommon, putting your kids in spaces like this for a while, I guess.
Well, there's a great literary tradition of women going in attics.
Yeah.
There's a book I read a long time ago. Carrion Crow reminded me of it, and it's called The Mad Woman in the Attic, by a pair of researchers called Sandra Gilbert and Susan Gubar, I think her last name is. And they basically defined this whole genre of feminist literature, looking at the writings of people like Jane Austen, Emily Dickinson, the Brontes, George Eliot, where there was this... I guess the most obvious example is Jane Eyre, when Bertha Mason is kind of like confined in this attic, and she has this companion, Grace Poole, who kind of like assumes the role of looking after her. And this book, the Mad Woman in the Attic, basically says that the idea that Victorian woman was seen by male authors as one of two types. They were either positive, sort of like nurturing, soft, feminine, or negative, mad, brutish, independent. And what these early feminist writers like the Brontes, Jane Austen, George Eliot, etc., were saying was this mad woman in the attic was their feminism screaming to be let out. And I think what Heather Parry has done with Carrion Crow is kind of like taken that idea one step further, or maybe even inverted it, because this time it's not necessarily a man who locks Marguerite in the attic, it's her mum. Mm-hmm. So the trauma here might not be feminist based, it might be more, as Pike said earlier, generational.
Oh, there are women
trauma.
who are not very feminist, so it could be done by a female person because they don't like these ideas of being a liberated feminine.
Well, there's definitely a feminist question there, though, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's the lives that are being destroyed. They're being destroyed by the grandfather, who also destroys loads of other lives in Congo, and the husband.
Yes.
Even the powerful women, right? Cecile, when she's at the height of her power, or even Mrs. Perigord. They still, Miss Perigord still walks behind her husband.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they don't necessarily need to be, or they actually don't want to be seen as feminist. And maybe that was, like, unacceptable, that her daughter wanted to be a little bit more open with her feelings and how she wanted to live.
It's true that all the major decisions, apart from one, are made by men throughout the course of the novel. The only major decision that's not made by a man is the decision to put Marguerite in the attic.
Maybe Cecile wanted to, like, establish some idea of control in her life because she couldn't control anything anymore. So she took it quite far. Maybe her idea was really just keep her there for a few months or something, which we still didn't say, like how much time went on.
Yeah, I think that's exactly that.
Yeah, and it just went, and she couldn't stop controlling this situation, and it was it was cruel, it was sick how, the time, at the beginning we sort of knew that, okay, so maybe this was a week, a few days, and then it got so confused. I think it was written, like, it's genius, because I could feel how Marguerite was confused time-wise. She didn't know if it was a day or a month that she was lying on this quote-unquote bed that she had there. She didn't know.
Yeah, she wasn't even sure of the seasons.
Nothing.
I think the only reference to time that she could get hold of was the lifespan of the baby crows.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah, the crow. Actually, we didn't mention the crow still. So this
Well,
poor animal. Yeah, you can.
We don't know when she first found the crow, and I honestly think that when she finds the letters and it is revealed that she realised how long she's been up there, I think that is actually how long she's been up there, and that the crows appear sort of, and there might not have just been one crow, you know.
Oh no!
Yeah.
It was several. She gets confused, and I think, you know, part of the reason her mother keeps her up there is every time she goes up, she goes, "Oh, you're even more disturbed," kind of thing, and it's like, yes. I've been locked up here by myself in a cramped little attic. You don't think I'm going to get any more sane from this? You know, and the parallels that are drawn deliberately by the writing device between her mother's life and her life is the alternating chapters that it ends up with, like chapter on Cecile, chapter on Marguerite, chapter on Cecile, chapter on Marguerite.
Yes.
You know, the writing in this is so fucking clever, as well as being immensely readable. I mean, it's just a superb book in every which way, and there are so many things, thinking back on it, that you can go over and go, oh, what about this? So I can't remember, we said earlier, it's a fairly simple plot. On the surface of it is, but it's a very complex, deep novel. At least that's the way I saw it.
It talks about such deep, painful traumas that if the plot was more, you know, all over the place, we would be lost.
I think we got nearly lost when all four of us tried to explain the plot.
Yeah, as always.
There almost isn't really a plot. I mean, the only thing that really truly happens is that Marguerite gets locked in the
And
the attic.
she is never let out. And the meals become irregular. She has no means of like cleaning herself. She has one nightgown or whatever she's in. She is really suffering with her body. This is really like the triggers are body horror, starvation, claustrophobic, dirty space where you can't, she couldn't leave. Well, could she have tried? I don't know. This was always on my mind. Like, she was so under this, you know, the oppression that she was not even trying to get out. Every time her mom, she wasn't even speaking back.
But she was prepared to try and kill her mum.
Like, very late, but, you know, she wasn't really speaking back. Well, from how I was speaking back to my parents, you know, like, she was thinking all these things, like, how is this, like, I need to trust my mom. She was just trying to make her mom so happy and proud. She was quoting and memorizing all these, you know, the texts, and every time her mom came, the mom wasn't even looking at her, talking to her. She was just like, oh, there is food. And Marguerite always tried to talk to her and let her see, Mom, I learned all this. I am ready. Do you approve of me? Are you happy with me? Look, I'm trying. And it was just heartbreaking that, like, she wasn't fighting. She wasn't screaming at her mom.
Towards the end, where she attacks her mom, I think they're quite different, quite similar at that point. So both of their stories have been told, and you can see the parallels between the stories. And then when she attacks her mom, you can see also how both of them are quite old, and both of them have gone quite crazy by that point. I don't know, have any of you seen The Grey Gardens?
No.
It's a documentary about this mother and daughter who are old and crazy. They are some kind of distant relatives of Jackie Kennedy, and they live in this dilapidated house that's full of rubbish. It made me think of that, because you also have these two rich women in this fancy house that's falling apart, and they're they only really have each other at that point. That created universe between them.
Yeah, it is. I like Ligeia, I was really intrigued by the fact that she didn't try and leave herself, but she was prepared towards the end to think about attacking her mum. But even then, the much more simple thing to do would be to simply lift up the attic door.
I don't know if
and
it
leave.
was simple, but I would have been trying.
It was
I
locked.
think it was
The attic door was locked.
yeah.
There was
Was
a
it?
padlock. Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
padlock
I
mentioned.
know.
That's when she tries to strangle her mom. She hears
The
the
key.
clink of the
Oh,
key
that's
in the
right.
padlock.
Yeah. But like every time the mom came upstairs, I would just be thinking, okay, I will just hit her over the head. I will not kill her, but like I'm going out. You can enjoy this space now, Mama.
The other thing as well, I mean, we are treated in great detail to how this attic is rotting
Yes.
around her. It surely wouldn't have been that difficult
Yeah.
to...
And how it
Yeah.
ends up getting covered in various excreta from
Ooh.
various orifices.
Yeah, it was a particularly gross book in that respect.
Very much.
I told someone that it was like if David Cronenberg decided to try and write a Jane Austen novel.
Yes. I think you told me, and I agree.
That is a funny
Was it
way.
you I said
think
it to?
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, like the body functions and how this poor girl is dealing with, like, she has nothing to do. It's either like she is really losing her mind, and also she is really uncomfortable with herself. Who wouldn't be? There is no water. She has like a little sink, and the river stink, and oh my
The shit stink of the Thames.
Oh my goodness. So she can't really clean herself. There is no toilet. She's using a bucket there.
Chamber pot.
Yeah, whatever. like her hair is so long and tangled, and everything is living in her hair and her nails. Oh, that was something else.
I mean, part of the reason why, you know, it's like, well, why didn't she try and get out? Why didn't she push her mum out the way? For most of it, she is looking for validation from her mum.
Yeah, she was still
She is
hoping.
actually like going, you know, look, Mum, I've learnt this. Oh, I
Yeah.
know all this. But look, I've sewn myself a baby.
That
you know,
baby.
Yeah, that. Oh, does
I
she
cried
doesn't
so
just sew the
much.
baby out of bed? She. Yes, folks, that's yeah,
She sews the baby
was-
to herself.
yeah.
To
Yeah,
her belly,
yeah.
and she's like, now we are together.
Holy fuck.
I couldn't stop crying. This was awful. I felt so much for this girl. I can't even explain. It's so well written. I would like to meet this author and just like kiss her hands.
Well, I did find out today that she did actually do a podcast. It is out there, but I think most of the episodes have dropped off, and the last one was in 2022, and it was called Teenage Scream, and it was with another author and about sort of teenage themed horror movies. And I think they did quite a lot of episodes, because one of the episodes is called End of Season 8 or something, but there's only one episode before it. So, her Patreon is dead as well. So,
Are you stalking her?
no, I actually.
She's stalking us, actually.
I just did my research on the author. Call it stalking if you want.
All right, research.
I did find that it mentioned podcast, and because we were doing a podcast, I tried to find out about the
Of
podcast,
course.
but it's dead. It's no longer active,
It's
but there are a
finished.
couple of
It's
episodes on there.
Speaking personally, I'm very, very glad that we all really liked this novel and really enjoyed it, because she did comment on our Instagram when I
Yeah.
posted that we were going to read this next.
That was
So I have a feeling
precious.
she's going to give it a listen. So
Oh,
it
hopefully.
would have been awful if we'd all thought it was
If
shit.
you are listening, Heather, and you do want to
Be stalked.
join us for a podcast, you're more than welcome.
Wow.
Yeah, we won't even make you say Hail Satan.
No, absolutely.
No.
Guests on the podcast
Well, you
don't
can
have
if
to
you
say
love
that.
to talk to her about this book or any book she wrote. I think I'm gonna reach out to more of her work. Because this was
Yeah,
awesome.
I've got her other one. She's got another novel, I think, which she wrote before Carrion Crow, which I've got on order at the local library.
Oh, I can't remember what it's called. It's something makes a woman.
Orpheus makes
Oh,
a girl?
Orpheus makes a girl. That's it.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Orpheus, that was
That's
the one I knew it
intriguing.
was.
See, I didn't stalk her that much to get to what the other novel was. I was just
I'm
just
stalking all of you.
stalking up
Oh,
podcast feeds as I'm a complete fucking podcast fanatic.
Since we are on the topic of podcasts, wasn't there a podcast we were going to mention? And the campaign?
There is. Well done, Pike. Well done for remembering when we all forgot.
Yes.
All right, as Pike said, another podcast. Do you want to tell us about it, Lithos?
Yes, it's called Devil's Discourse. It is the sister podcast to this podcast, as in the four of us are definitely on it. We also have Kay as an extra participant. It's more on general topics. It's not really related to books. It's just general topics from the perspective of modern rational Satanists. Some of them are light-hearted, some of them aren't.
We also have a new organisation which we're members of, but is not officially affiliated to either this podcast or Devil's Discount.
Devil's Discount.
Devil's Discount.
That's little special this week, Devil's Discount.
666% off. Fucking hell. All right. Devil's Discourse.
it's going well.
Devil's called Helltraff, which is basically an organisation of Satanists, of which, and that's basically us. But as I say, this podcast and Devil's Discount, which I'm now going to call it from now on,
Gonna rename it.
are not officially related to it. However, Helltraff are running a campaign, which is kind of like affiliated to not affiliated to Devil's Library, but shares an interest. The campaign is called Fruits of Knowledge, and we are going to be raising money over a 6-month period to donate to Give a Book. Give a Book are a charity which provide books to prisons and mother and baby units, secure units, remand centres.
Schools
as well as places like schools and I think, but don't hold me to this, hospitals. They basically distribute books. And the reason that we're having this campaign is because we believe that the best way to fight hatred and fascism and bigotry is by developing empathy. And a good way to develop empathy is by reading books. And that's not just our opinion, that's bloody science.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
That's proper science.
As long as the books aren't like Mein Kampf or anything like that. You know,
Or a
Elon
Bible.
Musk's fucking autobiography, some shit like that. You know, we're talking proper literature, not Might is Right.
What? Stop naming fascist books.
Sorry, I'm just yes, a podcast that I sort of helped put on YouTube is called Ave Satanas by friend Jack Violently from Free Society Satanists, and they have just done a series of podcasts going into Might is Right in detail, and so sorry, that one's on my mind.
Okay, all right, that's enough self-fucking promotion now. Let's back to the book.
I had a question for you guys. Do you have any like a specific moment or a line that really stuck with you the most?
Yes.
I'm going to get it wrong, but it was, Mother, I am rotting here.
Yes, I think that's actually the line. I have made notes.
It absolutely knocked me for 6, that line. It might not have been the actual first time, but in my mind it was the first time that the actual reality of everything came crashing down on her. And it was just an acknowledgement of both what was happening to her and also her mum's role in creating what had happened to her.
If this was a horror film, that line would have been said in a guttural voice with a weird look on the face.
Mother, I am rotting here. It would have been the strapline for the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, it is a description of Mrs. Beeton's book by Marguerite. The 1,000 pages of prescribed femininity, the dictionary of what men wanted from women, as a description of Mrs. Beeton's book.
Mine's a bit of a longer explanation. And it's a bit of an individual thing, I guess. So there is a bit where Marguerite talks about her confinement in the attic. She says that she's like those who lay so long in the shape of fetuses that they had turned into them and could not be turned back. And there is this creepy feeling of being both alive and dead at the same time. It made me immediately think of a quote from Carol. I don't know if any of you have read it. In it, Therese looks at a toy train that goes in circles. And it says, it was like something gone mad in imprisonment, something that's already dead, that would never wear out. Like the dainty springy-footed foxes in the Central Park Zoo, whose complex footwork repeated and repeated as they circled their cages. And I immediately thought back to that, because they both talk about this thing where you are in that state, both dead and alive at the same time, and I find it very interesting.
Schrodinger's main character.
That's right.
Schrodinger's torture attic. There's a name for a band.
She's at the end.
Sorry.
I am making a serious literary point.
Yeah, this is how we deal with stress.
You did. I'm sorry.
And at the very end, where Marguerite is watching herself, where she has changed into a bird or she's dead and she's watching her body on the bed surrounded by people. She is both dead and alive at that point. It becomes reality.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Ligeia?
Yeah, I don't have a specific quote because as I said, I really loved the whole book. But there were moments that will stick with me forever, I think. That one where the baby is attached to her body, that just absolutely floored me. You see, I want to cry even now. Like, I think when she did that, she actually was on that edge. Like, she was like giving in to this. I think she knew she's never leaving. She's never going to have a life. A child, a husband, or her lover. Like, she was done. I think that was her last, I don't know, try to lie to herself. That denial is absolutely heartbreaking. And it was close to the end where she actually ate that bird. That really, because she was taking care of it. She was really like, this is life. She was trying to use the motherly feelings and to protect the bird. It was her friend. It was like this little life that was bringing her a little bit of, hope and joy. She was listening to them and the babies were there. And then when she was, I think she was telling herself something like, we are feeding. When she ate the bird, she killed it, and she was like, we are feeding, we need to survive. Like, she was, the body was taking over. Like, that was the last try of that tiny body to actually survive on something, because she didn't have any food and she was dying, and her brain made her like, eat this. And that was awful, because I was then thinking like, oh, I have a problem eating a few things, I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan, but I understand when people are. And I think I would be if I actually saw how chickens and cows and if I saw it. I'm also living in a denial. I don't want to think about it. I like my meat. But if I saw it, I think I would stop eating it. And then you read this book and all that gorgeous food they had, it was always a feast. It was so interesting to read about all those foods, and she is starving to death that is absolutely a horrifying thought. Like, if you are in that state of mind and your body is giving up, your mind is gone.
All the way through the book, those huge, like, feasts they were talking about, I never once got the impression that anybody was actually enjoying that feast.
It was all for show.
It was.
Yeah.
They were cramming it down to the point they were vomiting. They were throwing most of it away.
We hated that soup.
Yeah, they hated they always served up green turtle soup because it was like expensive and well, you know what rich people ate, but they didn't like it. It disagreed with them,
And
as
they
was
kept
mentioned.
making it, and it was just
And then
absolutely crazy.
poured it down the drain because they found out that the servants were sort of giving
it away to the.
Yeah.
the soup away.
How
I mean,
stupid.
yeah. But
Awful.
the thing I got about, I actually thought in the final chapter, the bit where she's eating the bird, she's hallucinating that. She's already
Maybe.
dying
maybe,
because
yeah.
she was turning into a bird and she was using her talons. And then when she looks back on herself, when she finally thinks she's turned into a bird and she sees people coming into the attic and seeing her curled up on bed, and I think the people who turned up were potentially her grandfather and grandmother, the Hargreaveses, is that their name?
I thought it was her brother and sister.
That's what I thought as well, because she said they looked
it
like
could
her.
be. Oh yeah, but they were all they were old, so they had, and that they found her and were horrified. Yes, of course, it wouldn't have been her grandparents. They probably would have been dead by then. Yeah. So yeah, but that she hallucinated that whole
Maybe
bit
she
about
did,
killing the bird.
yeah. But still, it was a
that
very
was
strong moment.
Oh
for
God,
me.
yeah, it is. I mean, you can see it either way. You know, it's very, very viscerally described.
Also, remember when she was hearing like people living downstairs, and she was so confused, and she thought like, these are not like babies or little kids. Like, she thought her siblings are still small children, and she was like, oh, these steps are made by adults, but that can't be. That can't be. They are still small. So who is living here? And that also broke my heart. Like, she didn't realize she has been there for 20 years, and those two siblings probably thought she was dead, and they were living their lives, and she was dying above them. Like, this is absolutely crazy.
I think it was longer than 20 years.
Yeah, probably. It's just...
I think she said 23 years at one point.
But she just calculated that from how
it was
often he
just,
wrote
like,
letters.
approximate.
But then the letters dried up, and then her mom started making up letters. So it was probably
Oh, that
23.
moment
You're
also.
right, Pike. I think 23
Yeah.
plus
And when she
several other
realized
years.
she has been lied to by her mom, like, those letters were actually not coming from the future husband anymore. It was just her mom lying to her, even like this. Oh,
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was described when they first met as being kind of like middle-aged, so he'd probably fucking died as well.
Probably he was dead. Maybe he was waiting for her and he just died, or he just moved on. Who knows?
I mean, she described Marguerite described her own shock at realising that her hair was grey at one point.
Yeah.
So I think a lot longer than 23 years, probably most of her life.
There have been cases in history, like real cases like this.
The
I think
Fritzels.
And the Blanche girl. Blanche, I keep forgetting her surname. It was actually French. And she was put into the attic by her mom. I don't know if the pictures are real. You can find it on the internet. But if the picture before she was put there is true, she was the most beautiful girl I've ever seen on a picture. Absolutely crazy beautiful. And then you see her, if it's really the picture of her, when they found her, she was found still alive, sort of. But she was kept in the attic for 25 years by her mom. I don't know about, like, the details of the story, but this was real. So I'm thinking, how are we human?
Yeah, I did like the fact that Parry didn't just make, I'm going to say Celeste again.
Cecile.
I don't know why I can't say that name. Anyway, I do like the fact that Parry didn't just make her an out-and-out villain. There had to be an element of, likability is the wrong word, but you had to understand her and you had to have some empathy for her in order for the full horror of what she did to Marguerite to really matter, I think.
That's very
Yeah.
true. And it
Well, yeah.
brought
I
a
mean,
lot of
she was
depth.
literally treated as an object, a chattel by her father, who her only purpose was to gain him more social standing.
Who was the most hated person?
The husband.
The husband, right?
What a dick.
He was an absolute.
Yes, the little wanking arsehole who's, absolutely reprehensible in every which way. Again, not a character out of fantasy. I'm pretty sure there have been plenty of
God, yeah.
rich idiot sons who just were, liberal with their seed and drank away the family's money.
I would say the grandfather, the father of Cecile, for me was more reprehensible than the husband. The husband at least had some, he was shitty, but he could see that he was shitty. He did nothing to improve. He thought he had the right to be shitty, but her father does not have that kind of ability to see himself at all.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
And he spent all the time talking about himself, basically, all about his great exploits. And, every time he was mentioned, it was like, oh, yeah, I've been to the Congo, I've done this, I've done that. And so he would talk about nothing but himself and how great he was.
I think both of them. The husband was the same, wasn't it? Isn't it mentioned at one point that he just talks about himself?
Or Lord Byron. Or Lord
Yes.
Byron's poetry. He was obsessed with Byron.
It was sad because at the beginning of the marriage or the relationship, I think Cecile was actually kind of impressed by all the sexual energy that he was bringing to her. She was confused, but I don't think she was unhappy with it. Before he started, he didn't start, but she learned that it's not just with her. But there were moments where I felt, that was also interesting. He was not hiding. It was happening anywhere, even publicly. And because they were husband and a wife, he was actually allowed to be obscene or, and people were they saw it, but they were oh, Which-
all the doors were open in the house when they were getting
that
up to
true.
all kinds of,
That was true as well. But at points, I was happy for her. Oh God, okay, so you have this absolutely gorgeous sexual life, fantastic, but it was sick. He was ill. This was not. I think it was not completely okay, even for him. I think he was never happy, never satisfied. It was just him completely ruining himself because it was never reaching a point where he was happy.
He'd class himself as a sex addict now.
Yeah.
It's
And also all the STD that could have. I was just you bastard.
There's a parallel with the gluttony of the food with his sexual appetite.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it ties back to what we were talking about right at the start to do with class. And that class of people, as well as eating whatever they wanted to the point of vomiting, did whatever the hell they wanted in front of their servants. They didn't give a shit. It was...
Well, they didn't have to wash everything after
Yeah,
themselves.
they didn't have to worry about anything.
No.
And they didn't care who saw them. Because why would they?
Disgusting.
They literally saw themselves as the lords and ladies of all creation.
If it ever came out that the servant had spread rumours about them or told stories, the servant would be out on their ear and all the other aristo families would be informed that this servant was not reliable, to be employed.
And also they were doing the same, I guess, so it wouldn't be oh, she actually puked? oh.
Yes.
Not like everybody was doing it, so it was like, oh yeah, this is a part of the fun.
Yeah,
Because
there's
we can.
the bit where he's later on where he comes back after debauched several days and gets lost in the house and pisses and shits in the larder. Yeah. And then falls asleep next to it.
Okay, pitchforks. Since we're getting to the fine detail.
Pike's bringing us back to sanity.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, Ligeia.
For me, this was easily like 9.5.
Lithos?
I mean, this book literally, I cried after I read the final sort of couple of paragraphs. So well written, so powerful, and so immensely good. I can only give it a perfect 10. It's a stunning piece of literature as far as I'm concerned.
Pike?
It was very good, and I think it deserves a 9.
I'm going to give it a 2.
Is it because you can't remember?
Is that revenge for the score I gave Rosemary's Baby?
Right.
I'm joking.
Good.
I would also give it a 10. It was absolutely
Okay,
fantastic.
I'm giving it a 10 as well then. I was like, okay,
Fucking
because
hell.
I suggested it, so I'm like, I shouldn't say 10, but I want to.
So
Wow, this is the first time we did this.
Yeah.
next book, and the next book will have something to live up to. Fucking hell.
Okay.
Speaking of which,
Right, yeah.
Pike, do you want to tell us what we're reading next?
Next, we're reading Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. I haven't read anything by this author, nor this book. It is the first book of the trilogy, but we don't have to read the trilogy, we just read this one book. So, no guarantees, we'll see.
Right, so please go read this work of visceral beauty. We recommend, as you could tell. And yeah, Heather, girl,
Absolutely.
if you want to talk to us, it will be our honor.
And if any of you listening did not listen to my advice at the start to press stop if you haven't read it and made it to the end, it is your solemn duty to go out, buy the fucking book and fucking read it. You will not regret
Suffer
it.
with us.
Don't have any food round when you're reading it.
Yeah, don't eat
It's not
anything.
recommended.
Could be a good one after Christmas feasts, like you need to lose
Fucking hell,
few
Ligeia.
pounds.
No way.
Well,
Look,
it doesn't say.
Ligeia and I say this every time when we do the Ligeia ones, that it doesn't matter what we talk about. There's nothing we've said that could match the prose that Heather Parry manages to generate through this book. We could tell you we could talk to you about every aspect of this book, and it still wouldn't be the same as reading it. So just go and read it. It's brilliant.
Excellent.
Okay, so until next time, I've been Leraje. Hail Satan.
I'm Lithos. Hail Satan.
I am Pike. Well, obviously. Hail Satan.
I will not tell you my name. Hail Satan.